And what's up, everybody? Seth Cole here of the National Sports Channel. Welcome to another episode of Nnscra Hot Stove. First off, want to wish everybody, or hope everybody, had a very happy Thanksgiving. I know that I did. It was a very quiet, slow-moving day. Basically, got to do a lot of relaxing stuff. Um, wasn't really even around my laptop at all yesterday. That's why I didn't even make a race public yesterday. I mean, I was like, you know what? It's Thanksgiving. It's time to be with family. I'm just gonna leave my laptop out, where it usually is, and I'm not even gonna go over and do anything with it. The only two things that I can think of that I did with my laptop at all yesterday was one, I put out a Happy Thanksgiving post to everybody on the Air 2003 racing and gaming page. And then I ended up also listening to the football game Giants versus Redskins last night, but I wasn't even really watching my laptop. I was just using my laptop as the avenue to be able to listen to the game. And I only heard, I think it was the third quarter, and I fell asleep. So, yeah, very relaxing day. Had a great time with my parents, my sister, my Uncle David. That was basically the gist of us. Then had three dogs. Dogs make Thanksgiving great, and that was basically it. So I hope that you guys had a equally as good Thanksgiving. Probably a lot of you are out Black Friday shopping today. I probably am not going to be doing any of that because I don't know. I don't have any money. Anyway, let's get down to business here. It's hot stove time, and I'm pepped up and ready to go. Before we get into the hot stove news, because a lot of stuff actually has happened in the last few days, most of it returning drivers, so we'll get to that in a moment. But I want to mention, I was asked, actually, I think it was Wednesday, is there anything I'm going to be doing during the off season? Any series I'm going to be doing? And there is a potential series that I will be doing during the off season. I still have to see if the mod works for certain tracks and whatnot, but I'm thinking of bringing back, and I know I did this actually at one point and I ended up changing my mind, but we're going to be bringing back the fourth season of the NSRL, right? Or not NRSL? I can never remember which direction it's in. I think it's NSRL. But yeah, the NSRL, I think. I might be saying it wrong. If I am, I'm sorry, Dylan Young. But we're going to be bringing back the fourth season of the I say NRSL. I gotta look and see what it is. I'm going to drive myself nuts if I keep saying it wrong. Okay, let's see. NRSL. Let's see if I'm right. NRSL. It is NRSL. Okay, I am correct. NRSL. Okay, so I'm saying it correctly. But we're gonna be bringing back the fourth season of the NRSL Reese's Rally Car Series. I got a couple of tracks already in mind. I got to do some AI testing, make sure that the track is compatible with the mod. But looking forward to that. Then that's going to be an interesting series too if we're able to do it, because it's going to be where it's going to be two drivers in a car and they're going to alternate each race. So it's basically like a team effort kind of thing. But still, that's in the works. I got to do some AI testing with certain tracks, and if it works out, you'll be seeing the signups for that series very, very soon. So let's get down to business. Let's go down the list. We'll start with the Truck Series, then the Pizza Deck Series, and the Hershey's Cup Series in terms of drivers that are coming back. And there are a couple of drivers that have been signed to teams that will be making their debuts. First off, with the TaxSlayer Truck Series. TaxSlayer Truck Series, at least two new drivers have been signed to teams. Kev Scherer Racing Tech, the number 69 Ford F-Series team, has signed Preston Plord to the Season 2 number 69 ride. Preston going to be making his rookie debut there. I believe the last time Preston Plord ever drove in a series that I hosted was all the way back in the Snickers Cup Series, driving the number 47 Kingsford Toyota Camry. If I remember correctly, I think that was the last time he ever drove in a series that I hosted. And then also, Gardner Qualls Motorsports with the number 70 truck. That's going to be driven by Brandon Joy. He will be making his NSRA debut in his first ever series start. Moving on down to the Pizza Hut X Series, got a couple of drivers that are making their returns. to the Pizza Hut X Series. First off, we have Fitzwater Australia Racing. I'm going to sneeze just a minute. Apologies. We've got Fitzwater Australia Racing announcing that at least Kyle Langland will be returning to the number 77, and Chelsea Bowles will be returning to the number 31. Chelsea Bowles, of course, was one of the drivers that was able to step up to the Hershey's Cup Series if she wanted to, but that charter is actually going to Johnny Gardner. For next season, so we could drive number 7 in the Hershey's Cup Series. No word on whether Daniel Olson's coming back to the 32 or not. We'll wait for the confirmation on that one. And then also another driver that's making his return to the series is going to be Christian Merrick Jr. For the past 2 seasons, Christian Merrick Jr. has gone to victory lane at least once. He went to victory lane at Talladega in Season 2, went to victory lane at Auto Club in Season 3. Season 2 drove the 20 for Joe Gibbs Racing, and this past season, Season 3, drove the number 92 for William Brock Motorsports. He'll be coming back in a third different ride this season, driving the number 78 Sears Chevy Camaro for Backmarker Motorsports. There also is word that Jordan Lopez, a 2-time winner of the season in the Tax Slayer Truck Series and a 3-time winner in the Pizza Hut Series back in Season 1, has been offered a ride in the number 34 car Racing Tech next season in the Pizza Hut X Series. We are still waiting words of whether that deal is going to go through or not. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last stream or not, so in case I didn't, I will say it now. Quentin Moore, who was one of the 5 drivers that lost their charter last season, or this past Hershey's Cup Series season, has now been moved back down to the Pizza Hut X Series in the number 89. He drove the number 89 Chevy Camaro back in Season 2 of the Pizza Hut X Series, so back in a very familiar spot is he. And also Jay Jefferson has been re-signed to the 05 car for Flying Aces Racing. There is also a deal in the works of trying to bring Benny Watson back to the 24 for that team. Moving on down to the Hershey's Cup Series in terms of drivers returning, we've already mentioned Johnny Gardner. He's returning back to the Hershey's Cup Series. He's going to be in the number 7 next season, though, for Fitzwater Australia Racing. Sponsorship going to be Golden Corral and the New York Yankees, as well as some associate sponsorship from Pepsi. And as mentioned, he's having the number 31 charter from Chelsea Bowles' charter from the Pizza Hut X Series. Also making his return to the Hershey's Cup Series is Cody Smart. Cody Smart is actually going to be having the number 55 charter that Johnny Gardner had last season. So Cody Smart will be back with Young Motorsports in the number 12. Dallas McIntosh and Blaine Keys, they have announced they are returning back to Sega Motorsports. McIntosh still in the 14, Keys still in the 42. However, they joined Trent Dunham in Camaros for next season for Sega Motorsports. Also making his return to the series is going to be Brandon Gonzalez. The Mitsubishi Lancer, number 23, will return next season. Also returning are drivers out of Flying Aces Racing. Jake Basketger returning to the series. He will be in the number 24 instead of the 5 next year. And Garrett Sidner is also returning next season to the number 38 car. We also have another returning driver in the form of James Richardson. Richardson, who drove the 11 FedEx Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing this past season, will be back in the number 11 this season. However, it will be out of Fire Ice Racing. He will be a teammate to Emmanuel Hartnett. To my knowledge, Hartnett and Richardson are going to be the lone Toyota Camrys in the entire field for the upcoming season. Also, another driver that is going to be making their rookie debut. So far, to this point of the season, we had 2 drivers that were in line for competing for Rookie of the Year honors next year in Season 6. Shane Lake in the 55, Elijah Gilbert in the 98. Well, now add to that list R.J. Reynolds moving up to the main series. Of course, R.J. Reynolds being in the top 5 in the Pizza Hut X Series standings this past season. So he was able to move up with a charter, and Kev Shearer Racing Tech will be fielding that number 69 Ford. I believe it's going to be for R.J. Reynolds sponsorship still yet to come on that announcement. Another driver as well, or two drivers that have announced their return, is Anthony McCurry and Sean Galligan. So now the Seth Cole Baker Motorsports foursome has been completed for next year. With Elijah Gilbert in the 98, Cole Baker in the 18. Anthony McCurry comes back in the number 61, the Season 1 champion, going to be sponsored by a new sponsorship of Death House Coffee. And Sean Galligan back in the very familiar number 44, Doom Chevrolet. That team sticking with Chevrolet SS's, but going to be a four-car team for the first time since Season 3. I believe, aside from that, the only really question marks that we have right now of stories to follow up on at certain points, in the upcoming few weeks are going to be, first off, it's going to get that second charter that they're looking for to be able to field the number 52. And secondly, where is Nnscra Racing in terms of their third driver? We already know that Dylan Poteet's coming back to the 31. We already know that James McLeod's coming back to the 51. In the past two seasons, Nnscra Racing has had two different drivers in their third Nnscra Racing entry. Steven Gonzalez was in the number 60 back in Season 4, even though that was in the non-charter series. They also had Sean Henley in the 57, but they then this season had the charter that Steven Gonzalez got back in Season 4 with Alex Drayden behind the wheel in the 77. Drayden made it into the playoffs, but there still has been no confirmation on whether or not they're going to bring Alex Drayden back for the third ride, or whether the third ride's even going to remain as the number 77 for next season. So we're still waiting on that. One thing that I've also noticed here in terms of different teams and whatnot, especially in the Chevy camp, there are a couple of teams that are looking to go to the Chevy Camaros, but there are certain teams that are looking to stay with the Chevrolet SS's. Moving over to the Camaro side, you've got teams like Sega Motorsports. You've got Fitzwater Australia Racing. They're going to the Chevy Camaros. But on the flip side, you've still got teams like Retro Racing Enterprises, Seth Cole Baker Motorsports, CJ Racing. They are sticking with the Chevrolet SS's. We have to wait and see which side Nnscra Racing decides to be on. I think they're going to stay with the SS's, but I'm not 100% sure. And then we also know that now Michael Norman Motorsports is going over to the Camaros as well, fielding the 3 and the 4 for Brooke Allen. I think aside from that, as we said, as far as Nnscra Racing, we don't know yet. We also are kind of waiting to see about AS Racing, although I think that they said they are sticking with SS's. There's really been no confirmation on them moving over to Camaros. And the same can be said for ML Motorsports. We don't yet know if that team is going to be going to Camaros. But right now we do have a bit of a divide between certain teams already confirming whether or not they're going to be in Camaros or whether or not they're going to be in SS's. As I mentioned, right now, James Richardson and Emmanuel Hartnett are the only two drivers that are currently situated in Toyota Camrys. We do not have a Honda this season with Joshua Michaels retiring. We also have a Hyundai Sonata with Daniel Voiles coming up to the series. Ford going to be pretty well represented in the form of Young Motorsports. So, we'll still have Fords. RJ Reynolds, of course, in the 69 for Kev Shear Racing Tech, also going to be a Ford. And then we're also going to have the representation of Lincoln still there as well with KAB Racing Enterprises, Keith Batson, and Kat Tellier. I also forgot Levi McIntyre is going to be a Ford in the 99. So a lot of the top manufacturers going to be pretty well represented for the most part. I actually went down through the list of drivers that are currently confirmed for Season 6. And this is not counting the potentiality that 52 car of ML Motorsports could end up getting a charter. If you do not count that ride, right now, confirmed drivers that are returning next season that are coming in with charters are 38 drivers in total. That's one less than the number of drivers we had in the Hershey's Cup Series next season. So that right at the current point in time leaves us with technically 4 available spots, 3 if the 52 getting a charter goes through, which means that at this current point in time, most of the drivers that had charters for last season to get into this season, they're already confirmed. So 4 slots are basically going to be available still in the Hershey's Cup Series. I think this is where it's going to be really important. A lot of the pressure is going to be on the shoulders of the former champions. We already know that Matt Haas is shopping around his charter. He hasn't yet given an announcement on who the charter is going to go to, but there have been a lot of people that have been in the works of talking with him. We've also got, of course, Anthony McCurry. His charter still somewhere out there that somebody could maybe get. Same can be said for other former champions like Kyle Matthews as well. And Chris Dodd's already had his used. And then, of course, we've got the defending champion from Season 5. And of course, this is going to be a spoiler. If you don't want to know, stop watching the stream right now. But a lot of people might be looking to try and shop around and get the charter from the Season 5 Hershey's Cup Series champion, which was Trent Dunham. So we're going to have to see, if something's in the works there, because if you think about it, there are 4 former champions out there, provisional charters that they could loan out to somebody that could fill up the 4 remaining slots in the Hershey's Cup Series field. So that will be very interesting to see, what happens with them in the course of the upcoming weeks. I mean, who would these guys be willing to give the charter to? Would it be somebody that's, been up in the Hershey's Cup Series at some point already in their career? Would they be looking, to bring in a rookie that's never made a start in the Hershey's Cup Series? We're going to have to wait and see. I mean, if you look back at last season, I believe Anthony McCurry's championship provisional charter ended up going to Cody Smart. James Richardson's ended up being loaned from Kyle Matthews. Tim Walsh, he ended up getting in with Matt Haas's charter. And Leon Alvarez got in with Chris Dodd's charter. So all 4 at that point of the former champions loaned out their charters. We now have the opportunity here for 4 of the remaining 5 to loan out their charters here, and that would probably fill in slots 39, 40, 41, and 42 for the starting lineups for the field. So, we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, at this current point in time, the only drivers that I could see right now that have not announced a return to the series, basically based on the fact that they haven't been able to either get a charter, they lost their charter last season, weren't able to get a charter, or they are currently confirmed for another series. Right now on my list would currently be Joshua Michaels. That's because he's retired. You've got Nathan Hudson. He's also retired. You've got Cody Lamas. He's basically going down to the Pizza Hut X Series unless they can somehow get a charter to maybe bring him back up to the Hershey's Cup Series. You've got Alex Drayden. Of course, we haven't had a confirmation yet on who the third driver is going to be for Twinks Racing. Matt Haas. Of course, we've already documented that. He's going down to the Tax Slayer Truck Series. Quentin Moore, because we know he's going to the Pizza Hut X Series. Caleb Farrell. We don't know really what's going to be going on with him, whether he's going to be coming back or not to the Pizza Hut X Series or Tax Slayer Truck Series, with the fact that that charter now going to be going to the 21 of Joseph Srigley. And aside from that, everybody else is basically coming back. So, like I said, I think now at this point, the main focus for Hershey's Cup Series especially is going to be seeing where that charter for Matt Haas is going to be going, because we know he's shopping that around, and whether or not Trent Dunham, Kyle Matthews, and Anthony McCurry are going to shop around their championship provisional charters for somebody to be able to make it up into the Hershey's Cup Series. So we're going to have to wait and see. I think that's where the big story is going to be, around the Hershey's Cup Series, at least, circling around that. But other than that, there's been a lot of paint schemes revealed, whether it be for Pizza Hut X Series, Tax Slayer Truck Series, or Hershey's Cup Series. If you want to check those out and see those, become a part of the Nnscra family on Facebook. The Nnscra Racing and Gaming Channel, I believe it's called, or Enter 2003 and Gaming Channel is what it's called. A lot of different schemes have been shown there during the course of the past couple of weeks, getting stuff all basically situated for next season already. But like I said, a lot of stuff's still going to have to take place even after the final race from Auto Club for the Hershey's Cup Series gets uploaded and the champions revealed and all that. There's still going to be a lot of stuff going on for the offseason, which is why we're going to be bringing in the, hopefully, 4th season of the NRSL Reese's Rally Car Series. So, that's a possibility still. Like I said, I got to do some AI testing, make sure that that's going to be something that'll be able to work. So I'll have good races, good quality races. But anyway, that's basically the hot stove news of what's going on in the past basically 48 hours or so. Basically, the Hershey's Cup Series field is set, with the possible exceptions of where those championship charters are going to go. Pizza Hut X Series, there's still some stuff going on there. There's still some rides that need to be filled and all that. There's some teams that have been formulated and all that kind of stuff. And the same for the Tax Slayer Truck Series. But anyway, thanks everyone for tuning into this stream. And, more news that comes out, we will let you know. Probably not going to have a hot stove live stream for a couple of days now, because, like I said, basically the big top story that's out there now is where those championship provisional charters are going to go. So until we know those, basically there's really no more top stories coming out in terms of Hershey's Cup Series. Maybe some stuff for Pizza Hut X Series and Tax Slayer Truck Series, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. I will see you guys next time. You've been watching a production of Nnscra. offline racing at its best, and I will see you guys next time for another stream on Hot Stove, hopefully very soon. Bye, guys.